Okay guys, here we go today, percents and equations. Now today you're going to find that a lot of the material that I'm going over is going to be the same type of questions as yesterday. Get that, there we go. So you're going to see a lot of the same types of questions as we saw yesterday, except we are going to have, it's a little big, we're going to have a different way of solving them. Okay, so today we're going to do percents and equations, where yesterday we were using proportions to solve them. Okay, so your learning target in this lesson would be that we need to be able to solve percent problems using equations. That's what we're looking for here, the technique on that. Here is your percent equation. So yeah, yesterday I gave you the proportion format. This is going to be the equation format. So we have our part equals our percent times our base. Okay, our p percent, as in percent form. Okay, because it's p percent form, that means when solving, you want to write your percent as a decimal. So that's really important to know. Oops, I'm still on eraser. It's really important to know that if it's 50%, you don't write 50, because then your answers are going to be huge. You got to use 0.5. You got to make sure that you, as you're solving, are using the decimal form of the percent when you're working. But again, it's part equals percent times base. Part equals percent times base. Your base is your whole number, your starting value, the maximum value. You could have a percent higher than 100, remember. That is possible. Okay, we have 4 examples, so let's get to them. Here's our first example. Finding a part of the base. These are the easy ones, guys. These are the quickest ones, the fastest ones. All right, we got this problem. On June 14th, 2002, the distance between Earth and the Moon was about 375,000 kilometers. On that day, a traveling asteroid missed Earth by about 32% of that distance. How far away from Earth was the asteroid at that time? Okay, so I'm going to set up my problem here. Now remember, it's always part equals your percent times your base. Okay, you don't need to write that every time, but I just want to write that to remind you. So our part, okay, well, the asteroid is going to be our part because we don't know how far that is. The total distance is the moon. The asteroid is somewhere between the moon and that. Okay, it's a part of that, 32% of that number. Okay, it says of that distance, of the distance, referring to the distance is the distance to the moon. So our part is the asteroid. That's the piece we're looking for. So that's what I'm going to use as my variable. N equals, my percent is 32%, so I'm going to write it as a decimal, 0.32. And I'm going to multiply that by my base, which is my 375,000. These are the easy ones because they are on the same side of the equation. So all I do is take out my calculator and multiply those two numbers together, and you get 120,000, and then my answer is in kilometers, so kilometers. 120,000 kilometers. That's it. So these two steps, that's the work that I would need to see. Okay? Showing your work of setting it up, and then your answer. Okay? I'm going to move on to the next example. If you need to pause it, go ahead. In example 2 here, finding commission. Commission, guys, is what you get paid if you work at a sales job. They might pay you in commission, which means you get a portion of your sales gets paid back to you. And that encourages people to sell more and be proactive about it, because the more they sell, the more money they make. So realtors and car salesmen are usually paid on commission. So it's just a way to encourage people to go out there and sell the product. So let's say a car salesperson earns 6.5% commission on every car sold. If the salesperson sells a car for $21,800, what's the commission? That's going to be how much they get paid. Okay, so this is what you'd figure out. Okay, so again, the part is what they're going to get paid. The commission is the part. The whole amount is, the base amount is the price of the car. So when I take the part is N, I don't know that, equals 6.5%, so it's going to be 0.065 times $21,800, the price of the car. Okay. When I multiply that together, I'm going to end up with N equals 1,417, and that is in dollars, so that's $1,417. Okay, so if you're a salesperson and you sell a car for $21,000, that's your commission. You'll make $1,400. Okay, on that one sale of that car. Okay, so you can see selling a couple cars, a week is going to be a pretty good income for you. All right, okay, I'm done with that. That is end of example 2. If you need to pause, go ahead. Here's example 3. In example 3, we're going to be finding the percent. Now the next two examples are going to be more work because you're not going to end up with the variable on the other side by itself. You're going to have to solve these problems, okay? These equations. So here's what we're going to do for finding the percent. You are taking a test and receive 60 out of 50 points. What is your percent on the test? Okay, so let's look at what my part is. What I get, my score that I got, what I receive, that is my part. Okay, the total points of the test, that is my base amount. Okay, now yes, my points are higher than my base amount, but if I receive a 60 out of 50, that's over 100%. I got more points than the test is worth. So that is going to be over 100%. So it's not, don't always look at the big and small number. Think about what the numbers are. Okay, your score is the part. The base amount is the value of that test. So I'm going to fill out my equation here. So I'm going to take my part, which is going to be 60, equals my percent, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to use a variable, I'll use P, times, and then 50, my base amount. So my part equals my percent times 50. Excuse me. We got to solve this equation. So I am multiplying here, so the opposite is to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 50. When I do that, I get 1.2 equals my percent. Now, it's not 1.2%. Hopefully you don't think if you get 60 out of 50, you're getting 1.2%. Here's the next key. We got to turn that back into a percent, which means you got to multiply it by 100 or move your decimal point 2 to the right. So that's going to be 120%. Okay? That's why in class when you ask me what percent you get, the shorthand way, as I say, you divide your score by the points times 100. This is the work that proves it. Okay? So that's the work that I need to see for these. So that's your work. So you can see a little bit more work on these percents. The good news is, as far as the next example, these are the longest problems. Okay? Let's move on to our last example, example 4. In example 4, we're going to be finding a base. Okay? So what is that base amount that we're working with? That should be your friend paid $9 for a movie ticket. Oh boy. This amount was 72% of the total amount your friend spent at the theater. How much money did your friend spend? Okay? So now we're going to be finding the base. Okay? The amount that they spent on the movie ticket is only part of the money that they spent all day. That's not all of the money they spent, that's only part. So that's our part, and the percent is always easy to find. It's got the percent symbol next to it. So I'm going to take 9 equals 0.72 times my variable, my base. I don't know what my base is. Okay, so the part I know I spent, and then the percentage that represents. I'm going to solve this by dividing both sides by 0.72. And when you divide those, you can get 9 divided by 0.72 is 12.5. So my answer is $12.50. Okay? And that is how you find that. Okay, so you can see, here's my work again, that this example is not as long as the other one. Okay? But each example, depending on what you're doing, is going to be a little bit different length. Your formula stays the same. Okay, so always remember it is part equals base percent times base. When you're looking at these word problems, try to identify what is your base, what is your part. Is the value given all of the amount, or is it just the base amount? Or is it just a part of that amount? Okay, that's it for today. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you tomorrow.